BW, what's up? It's your girl Fee, and I'm coming to you with a message on today. I missed yesterday, but I'm here today. So we missed Wisdom Wednesday. So let's think about it Thursday, okay? So I want to jump straight into today's message. I don't want to be long. Like I said, I want to keep these under 5 minutes. And so let's get straight into it. So if I had to put a title to today's message, the title would be, Don't Let Distractions Deter You. Don't let distractions deter you. And this is based around the book of Ezra. Y'all know every month I'm studying a certain book of the Bible. And so this month I'm studying the book of Ezra. And notice I said studying the book of Ezra and not reading the book of Ezra. That's important because sometimes we can just read words off a page. But when you study, or for me, when I study, I'm trying to gain knowledge about the Bible and learn about people over 2,000 years ago. But I'm also, in my studying, I'm asking myself, what is God trying to say to me? How can this word from 2,000 years ago apply to me in 2023, in this phase, in this season of my life, where I am now? How can this help me to live a life that can glorify and please God? So those are the things that I'm looking for when I'm studying. I'm looking for biblical principles to apply to my life, not just to read a story because it's a nice story to read. Anyway, I'm reading the book of Ezra, guys. And so in reading the book of Ezra, it's 10 chapters. I'm on chapter 5. And so I'm reading about the exiles that went into captivity. And so they were led out by this guy called Zerubbabel. And so Zerubbabel's story is interesting to me. And I actually had forgot about him because when you read the book of Ezra, you really focus on Ezra. And so, because I read the book of Ezra before. And so Zerubbabel was one of the leaders, one of the Israelite leaders that led the first group of exiles. Ezra led the second group out of exile. Zerubbabel led the first group, and I couldn't remember that. That sort of threw me when I read that. I'm like, wait a minute, I had to do a back check. Like, he led the first group out and not Ezra? Yeah, it was Zerubbabel. And so Zerubbabel, he was a character. So he led the first group of exiles back. And he got permission to rebuild the temple. And so his goal when he got back to Jerusalem was to rebuild the temple of God. Also, when they were taken into captivity and they were exiled from their city, parts of the city was torn down. But when Zerubbabel came back, his first thing was, we got to rebuild the temple. And when he rebuilt the temple, guess what the first thing he started with? He started with the altar. Notice I said other things were torn down in the city. He didn't say, well, hey, let's go build the government buildings. Let's go build up the city walls. He said, no, we got to start with the temple of God first. That's what we got to start with first. And then even when he started building the temple of God and he laid the foundation, he didn't even start with the walls and stuff on that. He said, we got to build the altar first so we can make sacrifices unto the Lord. We need a place where we can worship God. So he built, the first thing he built was the altar. So what did that say to me? What did that speak to me? First of all, it says, when he came back into the city and he was being focused on building the temple of God, what that said to me was we got to start putting first things first. And guys, we do not do that. Ladies, we do not do that. We got to start putting first thing first. Kingdom stuff should always come before our personal agenda that we have. And then even when we starting something, we always have to consult God first. Sometimes we go consult our parents, we go consult our friends, and then when we mess up, then we want to go consult God. Now what do I do, Lord? After you done mess it up. But think about it. Maybe if we had consulted him first, we wouldn't have messed up in the first place because he would have given us wisdom and direction on how to move. So the first thing is first things first, right? And so that's one of the first things I learned. So they built this altar, and then of course they attempt to start building the temple. Let me put it like that. They attempt to start building the temple. But what happened? They got distracted, which is what this whole message is about. But I had to put that first things first in there because that's something we really need to start doing, myself included. And so when they built the altar, they put the foundation of the church. First thing that distracted him, the first thing that distracted Zerubbabel was comparison. That was the first thing that got to him. There were some elders that came up. And the elders that came up, they remembered the temple that Solomon had built. Now, if you know anything about Solomon, everything he did was on grand scale. I'm talking about Dubai scale grand, okay? Everything was nice, laid in gold. The floors were marble. When I think about the temple that Solomon built, we actually had the honor to go to Abu Dhabi just a few months ago, and we went and seen the temple. When I tell you it's massive, it's off the chain. It has gold, it has diamonds, like diamonds, for real diamonds. It have marble floors. And so that's sort of what Solomon built. So you had these elders that came up who knew what Solomon had built, who saw what Solomon had built, and they looking at this little temple like, because they saw the foundation, so they know the size it was gonna be. They saw the walls and they like, this don't look nothing like what Solomon built. Solomon temple, it was grand, it was luxurious, it was blah 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 blah. And so then he began to compare what Solomon had built to what he was doing, what his goal was, what his purpose was. Sound familiar? Don't we do that all the time? God has destined for us something in life, or we have a purpose, he have a plan, but then we go to comparing ourselves. Even just in minor things like houses and cars. Oh, I drive this, she drive that. Oh, I stay in this square footage of home, but they stay in this square footage of home. Oh, these are the kind of person she told, and this is the kind I told. Oh, this is what y'all see what I'm saying? Oh, this is what her man do, this is what my man do. We'll even take it down to the babies. Oh, my student, my child a straight A student, her child a B. Really? And so comparison, when he started comparing, it distracted him from what he was doing. It was a distraction for him. Again, don't let distractions deter you. And it's the same thing in our life. When we as women, we begin to try to compare yourself to another woman, don't do it. Something my granny used to always say to me when I was a little girl. She used to say, Lisa, because they call me Lisa, there are going to be women who look better than you. Women look worse than you. There are going to be women that have more than you. Women have less than you. And she just went down the line with just different things. I guess in her wisdom, she knew that women compared themselves. Somebody going to be smaller, somebody going to be bigger than you. And everything she could think of, she listed it out to me. She said, but don't worry, baby girl, for whatever you have, however you look, whatever you do, that's what God has for you. Not for them, for you. And whatever God has for them is for them. And that has to be our mindset. And if that's our mindset, that whatever I have, whoever I'm with, that's God's lot for me. Then we'll get away from that comparison train of trying to compare ourselves to the other sister. If she have that, that's what God has for her. If that's the kind of job she got, that's what God has for her. I know coming up when I first joined the church, oh man, I used to always want to sing. I would be jealous of people who had just those beautiful voices. I'm like, God, why didn't you give me that? And I ain't gonna really use the word jealous, because I ain't gonna say I was jealous, but I just wanted to sing so bad. And even now, I just wish I had a voice. Don't come to my house in the morning when I'm taking my shower, because you sure gonna hear somebody singing who cannot sing. But I just love people who can sing, and it's just, but anyway, I'm finna get sidetracked. And so y'all see my point. So no comparison. So he started trying to compare what he was building from what the elders had told him and what they knew Solomon had built. It was a distraction. And I'm going to try to tell y'all this. Distractions come from the enemy. Anytime you're trying to walk in God's purpose or do what God tell you to do, the devil is always going to throw things at you. And comparison is one of those things. What was the second thing that messed him up? Enemies. Fake friends. And we all have them fake friends who smile and grin in your face, pretend to be your friend, but they really planning your demise. Sound familiar? So these people came up, or these guys came up and like, hey bro, what's up? You know, let us help you build God's temple. Let us help you build God's temple, right? And their job was to get in and to frustrate Zerubbabel's plan. But God had gave him enough wisdom and discernment. He knew they were fake. That's something that we should pray for, women. We need to start praying for discernment of who we allow in our circle. You need to keep your circle small, and you need to keep it tight, and you need to pray for discernment. And one of your prayers should be, if this person is not meant to be with me, to go with me, to be in my circle, I'm talking about even as a friend, please remove them from my life. And trust me, God will do just that. You have to be, what they say, wise as a serpent when it comes to who in your circle, because everybody rowing with you don't want to see you make it to the other side of the shore. Some of them are drilling, while you rowing your boat, some of them are drilling holes. So we have to ask for discernment. And Zerubbabel had that. So he was like, no, bro, we good, we got this. Basically, that's what he said. That's just my Ebonics version of the Bible. Y'all know when I break down the Bible, I always do it in my Ebonics version. But basically, Zerubbabel told them, bro, we good, we don't need your help. Right? And you would think, trying to rebuild a whole temple of God, you want as many hands on board. You would think, but again, God had gave him wisdom, and he knew, this is my purpose. Sometimes God called us to do something, and when God called us to do something, we want to take everybody with us, but it wasn't a conference call. Everybody ain't meant to go with us in our purpose and our plan and what God has planned for us. And everybody wasn't meant in Zerubbabel day to build that temple. He did have people helping him, but God strategically placed those men in his life, in his sphere, to help him. Those other guys, God already knew they were fake. And so again, message, warning, everybody ain't your friend. Just because they smile in your face, just because they work on your job with you, just because they go to the same school with you, just because they go to the same church with you, don't mean a hill of beans. Okay? So the first thing was comparison. The second thing that distracted him was these fake enemies. They distracted him. And the reason they became a distraction, because once Zerubbabel wouldn't let them help, then they really started they went to the politicians. Hey, y'all know somebody over there building the temple he not supposed to. And so they tried to instill, which was the next distraction, which was fear. Because after they went told on him and did all of this stuff to try to stop what Zerubbabel was doing, they went to the politicians, to the governors, and all of that, to the king, who basically told them they need to halt the work. They need to halt. And so what was that distraction? Fear. And I always tell y'all in the group, fear ain't nothing but false evidence appearing real. When God had called you to something, trust me, he gonna work it out. If he bring you to it, he gonna bring you through it. So a lot of times we are not where we're supposed to be, simply because the devil has instilled fear in us. Zerubbabel stopped that job. He stopped doing it. And I'm talking about, he ain't just stopped for a day, a week, or a month. This brother did not go rebuild the temple for a whole 10 years. Do y'all hear what I said? 10 years he stopped, out of fear of the politicians, fear of the government. And it's the same way with us. Sometimes we are in our life and we can say, oh, 10 years is a long time. But God told us to do something 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, probably even a month ago. And because fear and in negativity, we tell ourselves, oh, I can't do this. God didn't call me to this. Or we're afraid of how we may look. How is it going to look if I don't succeed? But God called you to it, but you allow fear to creep in, or that negativity to creep in, to stop what God has called you to do. Y'all with me? And so he allowed fear to stop him. He allowed fear to stop him. So the first thing was compromise, fake friend, and then fear. Fear is from the enemy. The Bible tells us God haven't given us a spirit of fear, but of courage, of a sound mind. So if we're fearful, just the fact that we're fearful, we should automatically know that ain't from God, because God ain't giving us a spirit of fear. It's from the devil. And so you just have to push past your fears. Zerubbabel didn't, not for 10 years. And so some of us are not living in our purpose and destiny right now. And something is in you telling you, the job you own, this ain't even where I'm supposed to be. God put in my spirit 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, that I'm supposed to be doing X, Y, Z. But why am I not doing it? Because of fear. Afraid I may fail, or fear of failure. Some of us is just basically fear of failure. What if I don't succeed? But if you know what you know, that God called you to it, you're not going to fail. And even if God allow you to fail, maybe he's trying to teach you a purpose. And then you come back even stronger. Most of anybody that you can name who, I don't care who it is, that's successful in life, whether it's a basketball player, whether it's an athlete, a business owner, they can tell you at some point they failed. But just because they failed at something, there's always a lesson when something don't succeed. Maybe God wants you to do it a different direction. Maybe he wants you to take a different path. But you have to push past that fear and keep doing it. I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. Because I'm saying you won't fail, but I'm saying you may fail at something in the process is what I'm saying. Not the whole thing of fail. Sometimes just the process in the way we do something. Probably because we ain't listening to the voice of God. And it's always meant to teach us a lesson. When something don't go right, there's always a lesson to be learned behind it. Okay? And so we have to get past this fear and live in purpose. That job you own, you know you're not supposed to be there. But fear telling you can't do nothing else. You know you're not supposed to be in that relationship, but fear telling you, oh, maybe what if I don't find somebody else and I be by myself? Then be by yourself. Sometimes it's better to be by yourself in peace than be with somebody in hell. Anyway, message. So the last thing, because I want to wind this up, the last thing I learned from Zerubbabel that distracted him was discouragement. And that's something that we all face is discouragement. One of the things about Zerubbabel, 10 years later, Zechariah and Hezekiah came to uplift him and encourage him. And they had to give him that encouragement for him to start back rebuilding the temple. They had to remind him of what God had already told him. They had to be cheerleaders for him. And that's another reason why you have to be careful of who's in your circle. Are people cheering you on to walk in purpose? That's another way you can tell them fake friends. Because fake friends don't want to see you succeed. Fake friends don't want to see you doing better than them. And so sometimes discouragement would cause us not to live in purpose. Have you ever started off something and you started off strong, like you were just so excited, like, oh, I'm going to be doing this. And then somewhere along the way, you just get discouraged and you just stop. And there's nobody around you saying, hey, you can do it. Keep going, keep going. Now, the Bible also tells us sometimes you're not going to always have that cheerleader. We learned that from the story of David. David said, sometimes I had to encourage myself in the Lord. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself, but everybody's not strong enough to encourage themselves. Sometimes people need those cheerleaders in their life. That's why you have to be so careful of not just being so negative. Be a cheerleader. If it's your spouse, if it's your child, if it's your best friend, you should be their biggest cheerleader, because sometimes people need that just to keep going. Just that you can do it can help somebody to push through another week, another month, a year, simply because you told them they could do it. And so that's why if you have a good circle around you, they are going to cheer you on. They are going to say, hey, you can do it. You got this. If you got that cheerleader in your life. So discouragement. And I was trying to make a point. Have you ever started off doing something and you were so excited about it and you went, head in, and then along the way you got excited and it's just like the fire just dwindled out. And that's basically what happened to Zerubbabel. He came back. He was excited to build the temple of God. He was so excited, but with the fake friends, with the fear, with the comparison, all of those things to start hype. In other words, life started lifing. And when life started lifing, he just got discouraged. And that's the same way with us. We start off on something, and then, we start off and we want to do this. Oh, but then the kids start acting crazy. Then I get into it with my husband. And then this boss doing this and this. And then eventually you just and then you trying to start a business. And then your sales start off, because everybody, when you first start your business, everybody supports you the first month. So the first 30 days you do good. But then after you start the business, your sales decrease, people stop buying, and you be like, oh, was I really meant to do this? And it started pushing through and say, hey, I'm gonna get more business, more customers. And then you going out trying to advertise. I guess you think your business is gonna advertise itself, so you don't change it up and do something different. You just started getting discouraged, like, oh, well, maybe I wasn't meant to do this business. Oh, maybe I wasn't meant to do this Facebook circle. Oh, maybe this or maybe that. And you get discouraged, but sometimes it take that one person. And actually, real talk, that happened to me. When I started this circle that I'm posting this thing in now, I was so excited. I'm like, man, I just want to encourage women. People I have always known, I have a passion for going back and encouraging the younger women coming up behind me, or older women. I don't care. I just like encouraging and uplifting women. It's just something in me who wants to do that. So when I started this circle, I'm like, man, this is going to shoot off, and I'm going to have thousands of women. And not only am I going to encourage, I'm going to ask them to get on and post and to encourage and do videos. And it's just going to be a whole circle of women. I had this whole thing. It's going to be a whole circle of women. And we all going to be encouraging each other through our posts, through our videos, through our messages, right? And it started off good. I had women come into my house. We had what we call BW tables. We would sit outside. We would eat and drink, encourage each other, lift each other. We would do table talks. I would come on the internet. And then people started joining the circle. And man, I was excited. And then after probably about 100 people, maybe even 200, people stopped subscribing to the channel. The table talks, because of COVID, stopped. So then we couldn't do the table talks anymore. And so then COVID, I said, well, we can just do everything online. But then it's like it, and then none of the women in the group were encouraging. Because I was asking every week, I said, I will make a post, hey, if you have a video or a poem or anything to encourage another woman, post it in the group. I said, this is not a Felicia group. Post it in the group and let's encourage, and let's, network and encourage each other. And so I was doing it week after week, asking women. Nobody said, well, hey. And then I had a few people say, oh, I do a video for our post, but it really never came to fruition. I had a few people, we did like online table talks, and I interviewed a few people. I did have a few women, probably 3 or 4 that came on and did that. But then after that, nobody did nothing. And so I started getting a little discouraged. And I said, man, I'm going to just let the circle go. I'm not going to even do the circle no more. I'm just delete it off Facebook. It's whatever. And right before I did that, I got a message through my messenger. And somebody said, man, it was just one lady. She said, man, I am so grateful for this circle. She said, and that was just God speaking to me. I know it was. She said, I know I don't post or say anything. She said, I don't post. I don't come in. And I know you're always asking women to post and come in and uplift. She said, I know I don't do that. She said, but I am so blessed and encouraged by this circle. That's what she said. That, and this probably was 2 years ago. And I was just going to delete the circle. That one lady saying that how this group, even though she didn't post something, she said how this group has blessed her just with the post. She said, I may be having a bad day. She said, I already know if I come to your group, I'm going to see something encouraging. Whether it's a prayer from Evangelist Love, or whether it's something funny you didn't post it, or whether it's one of your videos, or even your granddaughter video, she said, tickles me. She said, I'm always encouraged when I come to this circle. That woman said that to me over 2 years ago, because I was in year 3 when I was going to end the circle. And because of that encouragement from that one lady, and she didn't know, and I never said anything to her like, hey, sis, I was finna delete this group next week. I never said anything, and hopefully she'll know who she is, because this is the first time I've said it publicly. And when she said that to me, God reminded me, sometimes the message you have ain't for everybody, but if it can bless one person, it's all worth it. It's all worth the 5 years of post. So with that one encouragement 2 years ago, I'm still pushing in this BW circle. I still don't have, Evangelist Love posts. And I still been asking women, hey, post a video. Come on and do this for, hey, mental health. Or come on and do this for this. And, and I ask y'all, hey, come in, post, do a video. But whether y'all do or not, because of that one lady, I'm going to keep going. If I have to post every day by myself, I'm going to keep doing it. It's not meant for me to post every day. It's meant for all of us to encourage each other in whatever shape, form, or fashion you want to encourage somebody. The only thing I ask, because of the different religions, not to post your pastor, because one time I had a whole feed of nothing but different pastors. And everybody have different religions, and I respect that. But I was encouraged by that. So don't be discouraged, because you never know, it may be helping the one. When I wrote my book, From a Whore to a Housewife, when I wrote that book, God said to me then, this book ain't for the masses, but if it can help that one little teenage girl who got pregnant, or if it can help that one person who don't know who their child's father is, if it can help that one person who was hurt by their mother, then it's all worth it. Because sometimes it ain't meant to help everybody. Sometimes it's just that one that God called you to. Sometimes you're called to one. Sometimes you called to 1,000. Sometimes you called to 10,000. But whatever you do, if it's just one person, do it to the glory of God. Anyway, that's the end of my message. I pray that y'all are blessed by this message. I didn't do Wisdom Wednesday, but I said, well, hey, I missed Wisdom Wednesday. Let me do Think About It Thursday. And the reason I came on, y'all see my makeup. I don't have no makeup on. My hair been washed, wrapped around my head. And I said, do I really want to get in front of a camera today? But I had to think about, when I get on to do this, it's to encourage people. It ain't about how I look. This ain't a fashion show I'm coming to. I'm coming on to encourage. So I said, no, you have to do it, because one of the things I told myself, and I think I shared it in the group in another one of my messages, as we try to better up in every area of our life, One of the things that's going to help us better up, number one, is making sure it's biblically based. But the second thing I said is consistency, because even if it's biblically based and it's not consistent, then it's not gonna work. Just like, and I'm gonna give you an example and tell you what I mean by that. Like, our temples are supposed to be fit for the kingdom of heaven. Our bodies are supposed to be fit, okay? And so that's biblically based, that we're supposed to be in shape, right? But if I'm not consistent in exercising and eating, then it's not going to happen. So whatever we're trying to do, we have to be consistent at it to better up. If I'm trying to save money, I got to be consistent in putting that 10, 20, whatever in there. If I'm trying to lose weight, I got to be consistent in eating right and exercising. If I'm trying to get closer to God, I got to be consistent in prayer and going to church and whatever. Y'all see where I'm going with that. So consistency is key. And so I missed yesterday, and I said, I don't want to get off track again. I want to be consistent every week, coming on, encouraging the women of God to just be better. Y'all be blessed.